One, I want to thank you for tuning in to Cold Case Project, and today we are going to discuss the last day in the life of R&B legend Sam Cooke. Now, for those of you who are kind of unfamiliar with what this man is, I want to just let you know when you put on what is now an R&B station and you hear nonstop rap music and hip hop and all the nonsense that has really just filled the airwaves the last 10 plus years, you, you miss out on the true soul and what brought this music to what it is. You know, when you rewind back 50 plus years, almost 70 now, and you go back to an era when men like Chuck Berry and Nat King Cole and Sammy Davis Jr. and Sam Cooke were just, they were there. They were on the front line. They were black men selling millions of records, getting number one hits, and they couldn't even stay in the hotels that they were selling out. You know, this man was the first black solo artist to have a number one hit with You Send Me back in 1957. This man, still to this day, from A Change Is Gonna Come to You Send Me to even The Chain Gang, you'll hear a lot of his songs still occasionally getting played every now and then. And it's deservingly so. And I can honestly say what this man brought to the music industry is so unsung. I can't even think of a word to describe what this man brought to the music industry, and from the voice to the looks to just the presence of it. You know, a lot of popular and pop music at that time. You had Frank Sinatra and you had Dean Martin. You had the guys with the looks and the voice on that side, and Sam Cooke was great because he brought that to black music. He was a guy who was at the forefront and a very relevant figure in his time. Now, let's go to this unfortunate day in December the 10th of 1964. Now, if you enjoy the content that I share on this channel, I want you to give me a comment down below. Tell me your thoughts on this case. I want you to give me a like to help me out with the YouTube algorithms, and subscribe for more content that I'll be putting out each and every day for you. So, with all that said, we're going to go back in time. We're going to go to LA, December the 10th, 1964. It's 9 p.m. Now, at this time, everybody at Martoni's Italian restaurant has their eye on Sam Cooke, having dinner. 33-year-old singer is on top right now. He's had a massive, massive success with his record Live at the Copa, which was climbing up the charts in platinum, and was on the brink of even further stardom, going, head to head with guys like Nat King Cole and Sammy Davis Jr. at this time. Now, he was having dinner with producer Al Schmidt's wife Joan. Well-wishers kept stopping by the table, interrupting their conversation. Sam, who had already had 3 or 4 martinis, eventually pulled away to the bar. When their orders arrived, Al Schmidt went to get Sam and found him laughing it up with a couple of friends and some music business executives and associates. Sam was buying. He flashed a wad of bills, what looked like thousands of dollars. He told Al that he and his wife should go ahead with their meal, and he had other plans. Now, at a booth near the bar, there was a baby-faced 22-year-old girl sitting with 3 guys. Sam caught her eye. He'd seen her around. One of the guys, a guitar player Sam knew, introduced them. The girl's name was Alyssa Boyer. Before long, the two were cozied up in a booth. They left Martoni's at 1 a.m. in Sam's brand new red Ferrari and headed to a nightclub called PJ's, where they were going to meet the Schmidts. By the time they arrived, the Schmidts were gone. In the club, Sam got into an argument with some guy who was hitting on Boyer. She asked Sam to take her home, and they left at 2 a.m. According to Boyer, Sam raced down Santa Monica against her protests, pulled onto the freeway. She later told police that she asked again to be taken home. But Sam said, "Don't worry now. I want to go for a little ride." He stroked her hair and told her how pretty she was. They exited the highway at Figueroa Street near LAX. Boyer asked again to be taken home, but Sam drove straight to the Hacienda Motel. He got out of the car and walked up to the glass partition at the manager's office, while Boyer remained in the car. He registered under his own name with the clerk, Bertha Franklin. Franklin eyed Boyer in the car and told Sam he'd have to sign in as Mr. and Mrs. Sam drove around to the back of the motel. Boyer claimed he then dragged her into the room, pinned her to the bed, and started to tear her clothes off. "I knew he was going to rape me," she told the police. She went into the bathroom and tried to lock the door, but the latch was broken. She tried the window, but it was painted shut. When she came out, Sam was already undressed. He groped her, then went into the bathroom himself. Boyer, wearing a slip and a bra, picked up her clothes and fled. The first thing she said was, "Pound on the night manager's door." Franklin didn't answer. Boyer ran half a block, dumped her clothes on the ground, and got dressed. Tangled among her clothes were Sam's shirts and pants. She left them on the ground and found a phone booth and called the police. Meanwhile, Sam, wearing one shoe and a sports jacket, come out of the room, frantically looking for Boyer. He drove the Ferrari back into the manager's office and banged on the door of Franklin's office. "Is the girl in there?" he yelled, according to Franklin. When she said no, Sam began to work at the locked door and ram it with his shoulder. The frame ripped loose and the latch gave. Sam charged in, looking around for Boyer. He grabbed Franklin's wrist. "Where's the girl?" They got into a tussle. Franklin, though shorter than Sam, outweighed him by 30 pounds. She told the police he fell on top of me. He tried to bite me through the jacket, biting, scratching, and everything. Finally, I got up when I kicked him. I ran, grabbed a pistol off the TV, and I shot at close range 3 times. 2 of the bullets missed, but the third entered his left side, passed through his left lung and his heart and his right lung. Sam fell back in astonishment and said what would be his last words, "Lady, you shot me." Franklin claims that he got up again and ran at her. She hit him over the head with a broom handle. This time he stayed down. By the time the police had arrived, Sam was dead. 6 a.m., Sam's widow, Barbara, greeted the news with hysterics, trying to shield their 2 young children from reporters and fans who were gathering at their house. 5 days later, at the coroner's inquest, Boyer and Franklin recounted their stories in a hasty proceeding that barely allowed Sam's lawyer one question. Tests showed that at the time of his death, Sam had a blood alcohol content of 0.16. Sam's credit cards were missing, but a money clip with 108 was in his jacket pocket. The shooting was ruled as a justifiable homicide. Case closed. However, there are many problems here. Let's start with Alyssa Boyer. She testified that she met Sam at a Hollywood dinner party and that he sang a song at the party. No mention of Martonis or PJs. She said she was kidnapped by Sam and couldn't escape because his car was going too fast. Yet when Sam went to the motel window to register, Boyer was left alone in the car. She could have escaped. She could have yelled for help. Moreover, if it was Sam's intention to rape Boyer, why would he have registered under his real name? Boyer said she mistakenly took Sam's clothes from the room when she grabbed her own. Wouldn't it make sense that she was merely trying to prevent his pursuit? What about the wad of cash that she spied earlier in the night? Surely she knew right away where it was. Truth about Boyer came out a month later when she was arrested in Hollywood for prostitution. The Hacienda Motel, which offered $3 per hour rates, was known as a hangout for hookers. What probably happened is that Sam paid for Boyer's services, and when she stepped into the bathroom, she ran out with his cash and credit cards. In 1979, Boyer was found guilty of second-degree murder in the death of a boyfriend. Bertha Franklin, an ex-madam with her own criminal record, was forced to quit her job after receiving several death threats. She filed a $200,000 lawsuit against Cooke's estate for punitive damages and injuries, but lost. As for Barbara Cooke, her husband's infidelity was nothing new to her, but she also had some action going on the side with a local bartender. On the day of Sam's funeral, this guy was wearing Sam's watch and ring. 2 months after Sam's death, Barbara had dumped the bartender and married Sam's friend and backup singer Bobby Womack. For Sam's part, he was always a womanizer. As his friend Bumps Blackwell once said, Sam would walk past a good girl to get to a whore. There were all kinds of theories about his death. A drug deal involving someone close to Sam, in which Sam tried to intervene, a mafia hit, a setup devised by a jealous Barbara Cooke with Bobby Womack. Many believed it was also a racist plot in the entertainment business, as with any rising star, not to mention one that was black in the early 1960s. Sam had made many enemies. As female friend of his said, he was just getting too big for his britches for a dark-skinned man. Was Sam Cooke lured into a trap at the Hacienda Motel? Were Alyssa Boyer and Bertha Franklin working in a tandem? Or Barbara Cooke and Bobby Womack involved somehow? Or was it all just a tragic accident? Over the years, many investigators and many theories have been made. They've reopened the case, but most of the principal players are now dead and gone. Seems unlikely we'll ever see this being a solved case. Now, with that said, regardless of what actually did happen this evening, there's so many suspicious circumstances at hand. There's so much different stuff going on the side from Franklin to to the call to Boyer, and as throughout the years, the rumor of Bobby Womack possibly being involved with his wife and having something to do with this case. So it's a bunch of different theories you're going to be finding, and really whichever one works best for you. But what I can say is, as a musician, the legacy left behind from Sam Cooke is just one for the record books. And I mean, it's sad to think that this is the end of one of the pioneers in black music. So, with all that said, I do want to give us one moment of silence from this musical legend right now. So, let's start it. All right, everyone. I want to thank you for tuning in to this episode of the Cold Case Project. Once again, give me your thoughts on this case down below. Throw me a like and subscribe for even more content coming to you tomorrow. Thanks again. Talk to you soon.